Mac Daddy? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a question for the next guy, and I'll ask you in a second. You want me to ask him now? I really want to know. I want you to tell me. How am I supposed to live without you? Michael Boldin. Thank you. Disobey. Resist. And please. You know, Lock and Rose wrote an article called Stop Saying Please, but I'm not going to stop saying please. I'm going to say please. Y'all like Lock and Rose? Yeah. Good close friend of mine. Get to know him. Resist and live free. That's the message our next speaker has been taking around the country for over 6 years now. Michael Boldin, no relation to Michael Boldin. This is a totally different last name, is the founder and executive director of the 10th Amendment Center. And whether it's Rachel Maddow on MSNBC or Bush administration officials in the Washington Post, left and right agree, the establishment hates the work going on over at the 10th Amendment Center. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Michael Boldin. My 143 favorite person.
Yeah, John Bush. I bring you greetings from California and a very simple message. We don't need no stinking permission. Nice seeing you, Sheriff Mack.
I love this guy like a brother.
We don't need no stinking permission to exercise our rights. We need to learn how to exercise our rights, whether they, the government, gives us their little permission slips to or not. So they want to hear what's next for the Liberty movement, and I can put it down in one word. We. No, I don't mean go get stoned, because Ron Paul isn't going to win the presidency. Alright, well, people have been smoking, growing, and selling, and buying cannabis for a long, long time. Some people get punished for it. Some people lose their jobs, their money. Many more people get away with it. In fact, so many people get away with it that in my home state of California, eventually, and it was back in 1996, people got together and passed something known as Proposition 215, which legalized cannabis for certain medicinal purposes, like I have a headache or a sore neck. Over the years, the federal government absolutely hated this. They don't like anybody defying their authority. They would come in and do raids, they would bother people, arrest people. But eventually, more and more people got on board, and as people did that, the risk became less and less and less, to the point where we have today. In California, around the state, there are approximately 10,000 businesses openly defying federal law by engaging in business in the medical marijuana industry and getting away with it. And in my hometown of LA, there are literally somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200 retail stores selling weed from storefronts. There are more marijuana shops in LA than there are Starbucks and 7-Eleven combined. The message is, when the market wants something, even when the government wants to stop it, it cannot. California, though, is not alone. By 2005, there were a total of about 10 states who were doing this whole medical marijuana thing, and more. So by 2005, the reason I bring up 2005 is that was a year there was a very famous Supreme Court case called Gonzalez versus Raich. And in that case, the Supreme Court basically ruled that state marijuana laws were worthless. They didn't matter. They ruled against people who grew and consumed a cannabis plant in their backyard. They said they couldn't do it. And as I was growing growing up learning about government, I used to think that if the Supreme Court ruled against a law in one state, other states who had a similar law would then repeal them. But at that time, so like I said, 10 states had medical marijuana laws when the Supreme Court said you can't do it. Does anyone know how many were repealed? 0, exactly. And since then, there have been another 7 states that have gotten on board defying and nullifying federal laws on weed. This is what we call it. It's called nullification. Oh yeah. And the way we define nullification at the 10th Amendment Center is pretty straightforward. It's any act or set of acts that has as its end result a particular law being rendered null, void, or even just unenforceable in your state. And then you can actually take it down to a county level, a city level, a town level, a local level, or an individual level, because the goal, of course, is individual liberty. So while there have been efforts on a national level over the last many, many years to end wars, we remember all the big anti-war protests when Bush was in office that are gone now, that the peace president is in there. There have been those failed completely. The people who worked on a national level to vote the bums out to get the Patriot Act repealed failed. Audit the Fed is a failure. We still have the Federal Reserve. All these campaigns for liberty, I guess we could call them, on a national level are not working. But as these 17 states, these individuals deciding to defy Washington, D.C. without permission are telling us activism on a local, a state, or an individual level is actually effective, and nullification works. I guess, so I'm a capitalist, I guess. I'm a reformed communist. Somehow I learned that the free market was better, so I would be remiss if I didn't ask you guys to purchase this fine product, which is being sold next to the Tom Woods table through the exit door to your right. It's a 90-minute documentary film, 76 minutes, that talks about the historical basis for nullification, the constitutional basis, how it actually is being used around the country right now. It's $20 cash. I prefer silver. We can do all kinds of bartering like that. So please buy my product. Okay, so to explain this a little bit better of why I think weed is the path forward, has anyone ever heard of an event called HempCon? HempCon, okay. HempCon really should be called WeedCon. It's a massive convention that's held yearly in downtown Los Angeles about the medical marijuana, or just the marijuana industry. It's gotten so big, they do it like 2-3 times a year in LA. It's grown to Denver. It's in San Jose, and I think Seattle as well. So this is a massive mainstream convention, billboards all over the place. I think they even do TV ads these days. So nothing like kind of like underground at all. And there's tons of vendors and businesses at HempCon at every time. I mean, there's like solar power companies, so you can learn how to, you can buy products to help you grow your weed in your house. There's security companies, so you can build a safe grow room or a storage room in your home. There's credit card processing companies, so if you run a dispensary, you can have secure, safe marijuana credit card processing. Doctors there will give you a medical marijuana card if you have $60, a sore neck, and a half hour of time. There's even delivery services. In my neighborhood, you can get marijuana delivered 24 hours a day in like 30 minutes or less. Yeah, Domino's can suck it. Yeah, there's a point here, dude. Every single one of those businesses, every single one, was either directly violating laws or they were assisting someone else in violating laws. But when thousands of people, hundreds of businesses, all out in the open are violating these laws, there are no DEA jackboot thugs that have the courage to come in and stop them. Yay. Nice. So this November, this whole election thing, I've never voted personally, but when people go to the polls, I know people are going to do that. The most important vote that people cast is not going to be for Obama or Romney or Gary Johnson. It's It's not going to be for a Senate candidate or a House candidate. It's not going to be for anybody. Anybody in Washington, D.C. The most important votes that people will cast will be in Massachusetts, they will be in Oregon, they will be in Arkansas, they will be in Colorado, and elsewhere. Why? So check this. In Massachusetts, polls show that medical marijuana, question number 3, is up 69% to 22%. That means the 18th state that's going to nullify Washington, D.C. on the drug war is going to do it in a landslide. Arkansas is even polling up like 52 to 48% for medical weed. Even Arkansas, it's weird to me. And in Colorado, Amendment 64 takes it to the next level, where they're legalizing the sale and personal use of marijuana with a state constitutional amendment. That is polling up 50% to 40% right now. Fully legalized. And in Washington State, the same measure is up like 57% to 33%. The point is, if any of these other states pass their marijuana initiatives, especially the legalization efforts, it's going to further the de facto nullification of federal drug laws that are already happening in 17 states today. This is really just the beginning of an entire movement that is happening around the country on various issues all over the place. And the message is, when Democrats and Republicans continue to work against your liberty in Washington, D.C., as they've been doing for 100 years or longer, it's going to be states, cities, local communities, and individuals who are going to have to rise up to stop them. What's our path? It's not about federal elections. It's not about federal campaigns. It's not about federal anything at all. It's about resistance. So when Rosa Parks refused to move to the back of the bus, she taught us all how to deal with laws that may be unconstitutional or immoral or unjust. Rosa Parks did not first comply and then go start some expensive and unwinnable lawsuit. Rosa Parks didn't first comply and then start knocking on doors to raise money for some federal campaign. She didn't comply and then say, I'm going to vote the bum out that is oppressing me. Rosa Parks did something that each and every one of us needs to do more and more in our lives right now. She sat there and said no. Those two words is really, those two letters are really nullification in action. When a heroic pot smoker lights up a joint, they are participating in a mass action to render immoral laws null, void, and unenforceable. And we need to thank them. Because when enough people stand up and say no, there's not much that the government can do to force their regulations, mandates, rules, or laws down our throats. The establishment knows this, and they desperately want you to waste your time and energy focusing on national campaigns that will not change the system. In fact, the neocon editors over at the Wall Street Journal spent some time on their editorial page writing about my organization because of this exact fear that I think they have. They were writing about another issue that we're working to nullify, the NDAA, indefinite detention powers, on a state and local level. And this is what the Wall Street Journal editorial board had to say. If these kinds of state and local efforts continue to grow around the country, quote, it will undermine executive war-fighting authority. Under their twisted view of executive war powers, exactly. That is what we are going to do with your help. Because we don't need any stinking permission to exercise our rights. We needed to be free whether they want us to or not. Thank you so much. Oh, and buy my product.
Mr. Michael Boldin. Give it up!